They lack Sean Penn's courage. And we've got a big update coming in for you from India's rescue mission of the thousands of local stranded, Indian nationals stranded in the Ukraine right now. A special flight from Ukraine that is to land in Mumbai has finally managed to take off after several issues from Romania. The plane will now be landing around 6:30 p.m. in Mumbai. And about the flights going to evacuate these Indians stranded, a second Air India evacuation. Let's bring in Polomi to make sense of this for us. Quickly, let's bring in Polomi. 2 evacuation flights have taken off from Delhi and are headed towards Bucharest, which is the capital of Romania, one of the countries sharing a land border with Ukraine. Polomi Saha, our civil aviation editor, is going to be live with me to give you exact details, because we don't want to get anything wrong. Other channels might, run roughshod over these details, but these are the lives of Indian students we're talking about, and we don't want any parents to get misled by half-baked information. Special flight. Let's bring in our reporter. The aircraft are going to land in Mumbai at about 6:30 p.m. Aircraft have taken off from Bucharest. Polomi, what are these aircraft? Where have they taken off from? Where are they landing? Make it clear for us. It's a little confusing right now.
Right, Shiv, Air India is currently operating 2 flights. There are 4 intended for the day, 3 to Bucharest and 1 to Budapest. One flight from Mumbai took off early this morning and has landed in Bucharest in Romania. In a short while from Romania, it will be taking off and landing back in Mumbai. The flight from Delhi, it got delayed because the MEA got delays in these flights because they were trying to get as many nationals as possible across the land border to Romania and reach Bucharest airport. Flight from Delhi has finally taken off now. So it will, of course, take at least 7 to 8 hours before it lands in Bucharest. So in terms of a flight landing back in India, Shiv, I'm expecting that flight from Bucharest to Mumbai to land back to Delhi, not the Delhi one, because it's just
Okay. What were the issues that were being faced? Polomi? Apparently, these flights didn't take off for a long time. What happened?
Well, the flights were on standby, but they are trying to,
Okay, we'll patch. Let's get Polomi live. I need Polomi live in the next 2 minutes. We need her live on this story, not on the phone. Let's get Polomi live so that we can. No, I need Polomi first on this story. Let's first tell our viewers, because parents are watching us right now. We need to tell them about what's happening right now. The flights will be landing in Mumbai from Bucharest around 6:30 p.m. today. We understand Minister Piyush Goyal might be going to the airport as well. So 2 evacuation flights have taken off from Delhi. They'll be landing in Bucharest. The 2 Delhi-Bucharest flights have taken off. They're headed towards Romania's capital, one of the countries that has a land border with the Ukraine. Students and Indian nationals who've been crossing over the land border from Ukraine into Romania have been coordinated and heralded by taken by the Indian embassy there to Bucharest. They will be put into those aircraft and then they'll be sent back to India. The aircraft landing at about 6:30 p.m. We'll come back to the story once we have Polomi Saha so that we can get this totally clear. I don't want any confusion for our parents and students who are awaiting precise information on this front. Now I want to take you straight back to Ukraine, because the voices from Ukraine are our absolute and overwhelming priority in our coverage here on India Today, because it is Ukraine that is under siege, it's Ukraine that's under attack, and it is Ukraine that is bearing the brunt of this Russian invasion. Maria Lonova is a Ukrainian MP. She joins me live right now. Maria, welcome. Good to see you again. Thank you for being with us this morning. It's day 3 of the invasion of your country. Where are you right now? What is your status? What's the current situation?
We are working with our partners. We are working with the journalists. As an MPs, we understand that also we are under high risk. And at this moment, you know, the whole night, the fights were all over Ukraine, and very hard fights near capital of Ukraine, Kyiv. They would like to take Kyiv into circle. We have a lot of helicopters and with the land troops and hard techniques, and that is why, as Putin has changed the world order, and Ukrainians now are paying with their own lives to hold back. We need to hold back the Kremlin offensive, and that is why we really require from the world introduction of a no-fly zone. Because if no-fly zone, we could be safe as just massive air from Russia Federation, from Belarus, also territory. So a lot of on the south, some towns are already encircled, but our Ukrainian armed forces are fighting very hard. And that is why we are asking no-fly zone. We are asking disconnect Russia from SWIFT. We are asking our partners to introduction of an oil and gas embargo, which could accelerate the change of power in the Kremlin. Sanctions also to Russian bank, Russian central bank, because all Russian reserved funding are in Russian central bank. So that is why we have not to stand with Ukraine. We have to stop Putin now, and that is why the whole world has to do it has to act very fast and operative.
About this the no-fly zone that you've been talking about, is there any possibility of this no-fly zone happening? We've just noticed that there are many NATO aircraft, especially from the US Air Force, that are flying in airspace over Romania, Poland, some of the other countries, but obviously nothing coming into Ukrainian airspace. Is there a possibility of a no-fly zone?
We are demanding and asking our partners to provide a no-fly zone, because now Russians would like to control small airports around Ukraine, because they need these airports and airdromes for their armed forces, for their land troops, for their special forces. So we have a lot of sabotage group all over Kyiv also. And also one of the most threats now is that Russians control atomic plant Chernobyl. And their goal, Putin's goal, is to control also another 2 atomic plants in Rivne and in Khmelnytska. That is why yesterday Khmelnytsky aerodrome has been bombed by airstrike, and we have airstrikes this night. So that is why Putin would like to control this nuclear power plant, and that is why we have to, the whole world has to act very quick and very expeditiously to prevent that Russians could take another 2 plants, nuclear. So we have to put pressure on our governments and heads of the states.
One final question to you. One final question to you, Maria. What is the next step for the people of Ukraine? The president has spoken. He's in the center of the city. President Zelensky has said that all Ukrainians should stay. He doesn't want to get out of Kyiv. He doesn't want to leave. He's asked other countries to send ammunition instead of offering help to get him out of the country. How do Ukrainians feel about that? Are they all united right now?
Ukrainians are all united. The president is in the capital, and Ukrainians will fight. You know our great history, and that is why we have never give up. We will fight. We have a lot of losses. The humanitarian situation is bad, and that is why we also are calling for our international humanitarian organization to be as much as they can, as many as they can. But now the main goal is capital of Ukraine, Kyiv. That is why a lot of fights and very hard fights.
Maria Lonova.
Yeah, let's be in touch,
Yes.
and I have to go. Yeah, thank
Yes,
you.
thank you. Thank you, Maria, for being with us here on India Today, giving us your perspective of where things are at. I just wanted to quickly give our viewers a heads up that there are many more dramatic images that are coming in right now. This is horrifying for the people of Ukraine, and it's horrifying for world security. There are haunting images on day 3 that are in many ways make what happened on day 1 and day 2 look like absolutely nothing. The scale of the attacks have actually increased. The number of weapon systems being engaged at this point of time is much more, maybe 3 or 4 times more, according to some estimates on the ground. And therefore, the actual amount of ammunition, ordnance, weaponry, bombs and missiles being used has been scaled up. So it's progressively being increased. The intensity of the offensive is being increased by Putin's army with each passing hour. And clearly, much of that focus, as you can see in these images, from overnight as well. A lot of bombardment is taking place overnight. Now, I want to tell you about the new satellite images from Maxar that have just been accessed by India Today, showing a 6.5-kilometer long traffic jam. Let's put those pictures on our screens for our viewers of what's happening. The panic, the national emergency that has gripped Ukraine at this point of time. Satellite images that paint a really scary picture. And Ankit is standing by with those pictures. Ankit, over to you. Take us through what you're seeing.
Well, Shiv, for first few hours and days, what we had was a traditional form of warfare where cruise missiles, short-range ballistic missiles were being employed. Now what we have entered into a phase of warfare that is called the ugly phase of urban warfare. And this high-resolution satellite imagery that we have just received from Maxar Technologies shows one side of it. This is 6.5-kilometer long stretch from Ukraine towards Syrian border that crosses into Romania. Now these little white dots, because this is a high-resolution imagery, we can zoom into this and we can show these little white dots. These are trucks moving from Ukraine towards Romania. These little black dots that you see on your screens, these are civilian cars. So thousands of Ukrainian citizens as well as people who have come to Ukraine from outside, they are now moving from Ukraine towards Romania because now the warfare has entered into a different phase. We have another picture that shows a closer view of this 6.5-kilometer long traffic jam. This is close to Syrian border. Now, why this is happening? We have another set of images to show another phase of it. What we have on your screen is, I'm sure you must have seen a long convoy, military convoy. But what happens when you have more attack helicopters than you have ground to contain them? We have this. This is a convoy of attack and transport helicopters that contains 150 helicopters. This is only about less than 100 miles from the capital city of Kyiv. Yesterday we saw images where Ukrainian soldiers has, in a desperate attempt trying to burn down the bridges so that they can stop the infantry. Now what Russia is doing is they are using these helicopters, low-flying ground attack helicopters as well as transport helicopters, more than 150, to target the capital city of Kyiv. Shiv?
We've got Ankit. Thanks for that. I'm going to keep coming back to you. Satellites providing a really, really disturbing perspective of the panic and misery. And now I have new images coming in. I've got new images coming in from Kyiv at this time. These have been officially released by the Ukrainian government of bombings that have taken place in the capital city and the damage that has been inflicted on apartment buildings. This is a residential area in Kyiv, and that is the kind of destruction that has apparently happened in a rocket attack or an artillery attack. We're not sure. It could be even a missile attack, given the size of that big gaping hole in many of those buildings. We've got video pictures also that will be up on our screens in just a moment from now. Maria is back with us, our fearless reporter who's on the ground. Maria, more images coming in right now of damage to many of those buildings. It looks like missiles have been flying straight into residential civilian buildings. Maria?
Yeah, it really seems so, and it really is so.
This
and
is scary.
Maybe you, sorry, I get back with video. So these images were on Facebook. Ukrainian civilians are posting them, and the story goes so that. Several minutes ago, like half an hour ago, we've heard very loud explosions, sound of airstrikes, and there were reports that these strikes are happening near Zhuliany airport. It is so-called Zhuliany, but officially Kyiv airport, one of the two airports which is in the city, close to the city center. So Boryspil is in the outskirts and Zhuliany is in Kyiv. And allegedly, the enemy, the Russian troops, tried to target this airport, and they targeted during these missile attacks. These two residential buildings were damaged, and there are debris flying all over, lying in the street. Down these buildings. And also I want to mention that Ukrainian official sources, Office of the President, Ministry of Defense, calls the civilians not to publish the pictures with exact locations of damage, so that the Russians could not correct the directions of fire. So these pictures were given just like it's somewhere close to Zhuliany airport. So that's all information about these buildings. And we are now witnessing, it's the first sunny morning during these 3 days of war, and right now nothing seems also gloomy or strange. The sun is shining even, and we are again at the bomb shelter hiding because there was air alarm moments ago, and staying here waiting also for some time, yes, to hide if necessary. And minutes ago, there was a very loud strike, the sound of the faraway explosion, again heard in the center of Kyiv. And again, the information about what is now happening in the city, that everything is under control of Ukrainian army, and there are no street fights or street battles like there used to be just several hours ago in the morning, this morning. So now the situation is under control, but we still see the attempts of these airstrikes from Russia, which target, as we see, civilian objects also, not only the military objects.
You're hearing sounds of the actual shelling that's taken place, Maria. What's it like been overnight? When we were speaking yesterday, the damage, there was some damage, but not much. Today, it's much more. Is that what you're hearing as well? Much more damage in Kyiv today?
I wouldn't say much more because, yes, if we count the proportions, like there are several buildings, like till 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 buildings, not that much, but that's buildings in city, civil objects. This is the capital of Ukraine. It's not like military base on the outskirts of Kyiv. So that's huge already. And we've seen the pictures and the videos of Russian armored vehicles being burned in the streets in the civil streets, where 2 days ago huge traffic of people going to work, going home was taking place, and now there is military actions, military equipment which is burned and exploding in the streets, being attacked by Russian vehicles attacked by Ukrainian army trying to repel the attacks. So this picture seems surreal, really, and we can talk that the damage is not huge, really, if you count the amount of buildings is damaged, but it is huge regarding the fact that it is city, yes, the capital of Ukraine, civil objects. People are living here. More than 5 million people living in Kyiv, and the Russians are bombing our city, not only Kyiv, but also other big cities of Ukraine. So that's still insane for us. And now it seems a little bit calm, but deep inside we are just can't understand what is happening. And there is a feeling that it's not over for now.
Okay, it's not over for now, Maria. The images that are continuing to come in from different parts of Ukraine are are, are extremely disturbing. Shelling going on. Someone's recorded a video from a car of rockets landing on a road. Now these images of, apparently a rocket attack on a residential neighborhood in Kyiv. We've seen, we're going to have, there's a viral video also of a Russian armored vehicle running over a passenger car in one part of Ukraine as well. Those images are going to be on our screen in just a moment. Yeah.
Yes, this video is the incident which happened yesterday. It was a Abolon district. There were fightings, street fightings, and also the attempts to combat the sabotage groups which were operating there. And this picture, this video of armored vehicle which is running over the car, or at the moment when there was a man, a driver in this car, was just insane. And luckily this man survived. There were pictures of him like lying beneath the debris of his car, but he is alive. And okay, some damages, some minor injuries, of course, he did get, but he is alive, which is more importantly. And that's the insanity, Russians invade Ukraine. They come to peaceful cities. They run over the cars with peaceful civilians. So that's the terror of war which we are seeing now all over Ukraine, unfortunately. And hopefully, as we have seen the reports of the office of the president, the Russians are being fight back by the Ukrainian army really professionally. And we've seen the reports that 3,500 Russians were killed over the course of these 3 days of war, and a lot of damage to their military equipment was done. So they get the response, the fight back from Ukrainian army, because Ukraine does not attack. Ukraine defends its territory.
Okay, we're going to have that video that we were talking about in just a moment. I just want to check if we have that video. Do we have that video ready? Okay, in 30 seconds, we're going to have that video that we were just talking about. And I'm going to come back to you about that particular video you were referring to. It's really, really scary. And you're telling us that it happened yesterday. Also, in Kharkiv and other places, those videos of people in cars driving with rocket shells landing on the road. There are so many such incidents being reported, Maria, at a time when Russia has continued to claim that they are not targeting, the civilian areas. But we now have that video. Okay, can I take it on that? Can I? Okay, we can go to the wall. Let's show our viewers this video. Maria, stay with me. This is an incredible, scary video that we have now on our screens that's gone totally viral, of a Russian armored vehicle of some kind running over a car. Let's keep playing that video. I want to show our viewers what happened. The man survived, miraculously survived. Just take a look at what happened. It swerves and jumps over, runs over that car, and you can hear a dramatic, very dramatic, words being used by a person watching and recording what's going on. Let's just play that sequence once again with sound.
Давай, просто зажала и... Скоро вызов. Давай топор ставь, перерубим нас. Чем?
Continues to be with me, Maria. We've got that video on our screens right now of that passenger car being run over by that Russian armored vehicle. Can you tell us what happened, where this was? Miraculously, the driver of the car has survived.
Yes, the driver is alive, luckily, with some minor injuries, but alive. And this was happening yesterday about the time of noon. At noon, it was the time when there were reports of sabotage groups of Russians who were dressed as Ukrainian military and trying to. They were heading the central parts of Kiev, but they were fortunately stopped by the Ukrainian army, and they were at that moment on their way to the center of Kiev. And if you watch this video closely, you understand that this poor man in this car didn't do anything to these Russians. He didn't, I don't know, interfere them or try to block the road. He was just standing near the road. The road was very, wide, so no chances to do this by mistake. And they do this. They run over him, and that's just insane. I don't know what else to say if not cursing, And this. A video also contains a lot of curse words of people who are watching this, because it's hard to believe, yes, this is happening in 21st century, 2022, central of Europe, European country, and Russians who claim that they are also normal and they pursue their goals of, I don't know what, in Ukraine, also claiming to be a normal nation, and then they do this. So just the puzzle can't go together. It's insane, and this is how the stupidity of war looks on the ground here in Kyiv.
I'm a little speechless right now, Maria, similar to how you must be feeling watching these images. You're telling us that this was deliberate. This particular Russian vehicle did not swerve by mistake. He meant to actually run over that car.
Yes, as far as I've seen these videos and all the response I've witnessed about this, it looks like so, because he didn't do anything. He doesn't interfere with this armored vehicle. He just stands there in place, and he just runs him over. So nothing to add here, just insane.
Has this, I'm sure this video has gone viral in Ukraine social media as well, Maria. What kind of reactions has it sparked? I mean, people must be furious looking at this.
Yes, sure, and all the other videos which are now surfacing here about what Russians do in Ukraine of this invasion, they get only one message in all the comments, that Russians who do so must die. And yes, that's not like some pretty stuff to say, but that's true, because they want the death of Ukrainians. They invade this country, invade our country, and people are extremely furious, calling them occupiers, calling them the Russians and the Russian propaganda accuses Ukraine of being like Nazi, and calls that this is not war, just military operation of denazification. And looking at this video, we understand that this is the Nazi activity. This is what Russians do. This is what the atrocities they conduct. This is what should be denazify, or how they call it, whatever. Not the Ukrainians who defend their country and defend their soil, and are now suffering because some man in Kremlin decides he wants to play, I guess.
Videos like these, Maria, are going to increase the amount of anger and kind of unity that's there in Ukraine. We've already seen it. The people are united. Even the opposition is standing with the president. We've been speaking to opposition MPs as well. Videos like these going viral in Ukraine and around the world, are only like to increase anger over what's happening. Isn't that right?
And you know what? Yeah, right. You're totally right. And Ukrainians are already united. They have been united, I guess, since 2014, especially after Euromaidan, after the start of war in Donbass. And now this sense of unity is even stronger, because the main idea which binds all us together is sovereignty, the independence of our country. And when we see such videos, such graphic content, we understand that our unity now comes from positive thing, from independence, from sovereignty, from our country, and these videos spur this unity around anger. You know, we have one common enemy we have to fight, and we unite in anger around this idea that he should be punished very severely after doing so with our people.
Maria, thank you very much for joining us on this, on this fresh set of very, very disturbing images coming in from Ukraine. We'll keep coming back to you. Thank you very much. Stay safe.
Okay.
We'll keep coming back to you. Miraculously, this senior citizen in Ukraine survived what has become one of the most shared videos. Apparently happened yesterday, not very far from Kyiv, of a Russian armored vehicle deliberately, say the Ukrainians, running over a passenger car. Miraculously, that man survived. We've got more breaking news coming in now. Okay, Russian aircraft have been passing over Konotop in Ukraine. Residents have been reporting two powerful explosions in Konotop, which is a part of Ukraine. Residents say two powerful explosions have been heard in Konotop.
Просто в зале дырка.
Какая жесть. Просто жесть.
Выкидываешь дома сидеть, Богдан?
У нас дырка, просто в зале дырка.
Какая жесть. Просто жесть.
Выкидываешь дома сидеть, Богдан?
У нас дырка, просто...
Какая жесть. Просто жесть.
Выкидываешь дома сидеть, Богдан?
У нас дырка, просто в зале дырка.
Какая жесть.
Выкидываешь дома сидеть, Богдан?
У нас дырка, просто в зале дырка.
Какая жесть.
In the northeastern, in the Sumy Oblast in northeastern Ukraine, Konotop is a city where two Russian aircraft have apparently passed over the city. Two loud explosions have been heard in Konotop. I apologize for not giving you the context. Konotop is a city in northeastern Ukraine where heavy clashes have been reported as having taken place in this particular district. This is in northeast Ukraine, just east of Kyiv, near the border with Russia. That's where this has taken place. Konotop is in the Sumy Oblast in northeastern Ukraine. It serves as an administrative center, and it is here that there is a large airbase as well. Two big Russian aircraft have apparently passed over this particular location. There are reports of clashes taking place on the ground, and two explosions have been reported in the city of Konotop as well. Heavy clashes taking place on the ground.
Просто жесть.
Выкидываешь дома сидеть, Богдан?
I want to put all of our most dramatic images of the siege of Kyiv and other parts of Ukraine on our screen for a moment to give you a sense of where things are at
У нас дырка,
on
просто
day
в зале
3
дырка.
of the invasion by Russia of Ukraine.
Какая жесть.
There are heavy explosions taking place as being recorded by civilians here in the Konotop city of northeastern Ukraine. There are clashes taking place. There is more aerial bombardment evidently being reported in some cities. Here as well, there are big explosions being reported. It's possible an aerial bombardment of that particular city that has created a true scare. Look at that image. Just look at that image on your left of a huge explosion being recorded, I'm guessing on CCTV from inside a house.
Какая жесть.
Clearly a residential neighborhood where that explosion has taken place. That's Konotop city, which is in northeastern Ukraine, not very far from the border with Russia.
Какая жесть. Просто жесть.
Выкидываешь дома сидеть, Богдан?
У нас дырка, просто в зале дырка.
Какая жесть. Просто жесть.
Выкидываешь дома сидеть, Богдан?
У нас дырка, просто в зале дырка.
Какая жесть. Просто жесть.
Выкидываешь дома сидеть, Богдан?
У нас дырка просто в зале дырка.
Выкидываешь дома сидеть, Богдан?
У нас дырка просто в зале дырка.
Какая жесть.
Выкидываешь дома сидеть, Богдан?
У нас дырка просто в зале дырка.
Какая жесть. Просто жесть.
Выкидываешь дома сидеть, Богдан?
У нас дырка просто в зале дырка.
Какая жесть. Просто жесть.
Выкидываешь дома сидеть, Богдан?
У нас дырка просто в зале дырка.
Просто жесть.
Viewers to the images because these are the latest in what is turning out to be an escalating situation in Ukraine. Anyone who thought that things were going to calm down a little bit over the weekend in Ukraine, couldn't have possibly been more wrong. Things are escalating. They've become more aggressive. The image on your right is from yesterday. The image on your left is from today. The people of Ukraine are furious. They're outraged. And there is a great deal of unity right now to fight the invading forces. That is the sentiment on the ground that we are sensing through our reporters, and we will have our reporters in Kyiv with us live in just a short moment from now as well. I want to introduce onto our coverage Major Samar Tur. He's an Indian Army urban warfare specialist. He's an Indian Army veteran. He has spent many years on UN peacekeeping missions abroad as well. We value his words and his perspective on a situation that is rapidly escalating, a great deal of urban warfare also taking place, a lot of special forces activity as well taking place. Major Samar, good to see you. Thank you for being with us here on India Today. Your opening comments on the images that you've been seeing coming out of Kyiv and other cities of Ukraine on the aspects of warfare that are being applied by Russia. The intensity of it appears to be increasing with each passing hour.
Jai Hind to all the viewers and Shiv. Firstly, see, as all the cities around Kiev have started falling, you have the Kherson region where you have the Nova Kakhovka airfield that has gone down. Then in Nikolaev, the airfield has gone down. Then Snake Island has been taken over. So basically, the Vostok and Zapad. Now you have been wondering why is V and Z written on these vehicles. So let me make it very clear to the audience that the eastern front of the Russian forces have written Z, Zapad, which basically means the eastern front. And then there is a V written, which is Vostok. That is the western side from the forces which have come in from Belarus. So now the time has come where these forces are going to accumulate and surround Kiev. So the fighting is going to become more intense, and basically many weapons have been given into the hands of civilians as well for self-protection. So there is going to be sporadic firing all over the city and small towns and villages wherever there is imminent threat. And other than that, it will be incorrect to say that it is going to be a walkover for the Russian forces initially. It is going to take probably another 48 hours or maybe more for them to totally enter into these regions. And then the special forces are just a part of holding ground. The main special elite, the lethal force of the Russian forces is Ramzan Kadyrov forces, which are basically the Chechen elite fighters. These are the ruthless fighters who move in when the special forces of the Russian forces are not able to break through. So basically they have started moving in, and now is where the actual war and fighting is going to take place, where there's going to be more threat to human life.
There's going to be more threat to human life, you're saying, Major. How challenging is it? In a built-up area, in a city like Ukraine, you've operated as a combatant in cities as well abroad, Major Tur. How challenging is it? There is a great imbalance as far as military force is concerned between both sides. But, this is a city under siege. If we're talking about Kyiv, the president is there. He's called upon the people of the city, to come together, pick up weapons and defend. How do you see this actually playing out? Do you think that there's going to be a lot of loss of life?
You can imagine that the kind of unpreparedness that it has come to the president requesting a common citizen to pick up arms. So basically, this is a blitzkrieg operation. It has been with intense speed. The vital targets and installations like airfields have been wiped out. The oil and fuel depots have been taken out. The electricity producing facilities have been taken out. So basically, there is no communication anymore. It is very limited now. So the reason is that basically the Ukrainians were caught on a back foot. Firstly, probably they were anticipating help from the NATO forces and from the Western countries, which was very unlikely and which they did not get on time. So secondly, whatever the weaponry that was provided with urgency from the West has already been confiscated by the Russian forces.
Yeah.
Because there was no proper distribution structure. And now basically the public is running aloof, and the best option for them at the moment is to stay at their homes and not venture out.
It's pretty scary,
and
because
it is going to become more difficult.
Yeah, it's going to become more difficult. It's going to become more difficult, and I want you to stay with me, Major Samar, because I also have with me live from Mariupol Rajesh Pawar, who's also a veteran of the Indian Army. He's live with me from Mariupol at this time. Rajesh, good morning. Thank you for being with us. I hope you're safe. I hope you're okay. I know you've had a night with that train not pulling out of Mariupol to take you and our team to Kyiv. What is the current situation? When we were speaking to Gaurav a little earlier, there was the distant sound of shelling. Rajesh.
Good morning, Shiv. Thank you for your concern. We are totally fine here. That's a different thing, that we were locked up in the train for almost the whole night and we could not move.
Yeah.
And hopefully they are trying to clear up the things, and train will move today, or we will try to move to Kyiv. About situation on ground, there was a lot of shelling last night in Mariupol. We could hear the shelling whole night. So it looks like the fighting on the front line here has intensified a lot. Front line is just about 8 kilometers from where I'm speaking right now. About Kyiv, I've been getting messages from all my friends there, and there are various different kind of reports, contradictory reports coming from Kyiv, because their source of information is also internet. Nobody's watching TV. People are very scared. And what I've heard latest is about 3 trucks of Russian military, 1 tank, and about 20 to 30 soldiers have been killed near one metro station in Kyiv. This is what the report I've got from a local resident who lives in a nearby area. Some areas of Kyiv have been shelled. So situation is quite fluid right now, and nobody actually knows what's going on. But what is very clear is 2 things. One, that Russia is doing it in a very, very planned way, in a very, very specialized way, and they are executing it exactly as they have planned. And second important thing which I would like to bring to the viewers is that in this war, what has come forward is most important element has been the psychological war. Both the presidents, be it Putin or Zelensky, have tried their best to use this form of warfare called psychological warfare. And it was very effective here for one basic reason, that these are the same people. They're all Slavic people having same ethnicity, same language, same culture, same history, and most important of all their grandfathers, great-grandfathers fought together against Nazis just about 80 years back. So both the presidents are trying to evoke those emotions in the people, because they very well know this cannot be just a military operation which will succeed. If it has to succeed from any of these 2 sides, it will be only with the support of people. If people of Ukraine turn against Putin 100%, Putin cannot win this war. And as some people are saying, it will lead to urban guerrilla warfare very soon, maybe from next week onwards. So without winning the hearts and minds of people of Ukraine, Putin cannot win this war. People who are determined to fight will fight.
Yeah.
That is why if you heard his address to the nation yesterday, address to the Ukrainian people yesterday, he
Yes.
was addressing the people of Ukraine directly and not the government. And he said, I don't want to speak to the government, I want to speak to you people. Because he knows that's the key to his victory in this war. Over to you, Shiv.
Rajesh, two more questions, my friend, before I let you go, because I know that charging your batteries is going to be an issue there as well.
10% left, yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
very quick, two questions with you, because it's very precious to us. There is this video which I'm sure you've already seen. It's on our screens right now, of a Russian armored vehicle running over a passenger car. You know, swerving and running over a passenger car. That man has miraculously survived. This image is becoming the most shared video coming out of Ukraine right now. What do you make of it? It has made people extremely angry. What are you sensing?
Look, Shiv, as I said, this is a very complex war. This is a hybrid war. It is not just tanks, guns,
Yeah.
soldiers, APCs and all. This war has an element of psychological warfare, the number one element. Number two is the propaganda, the misinformation warfare.
Yeah.
This is also in full swing right now. And we have to take every information, every picture, every video coming out with a pinch of salt. You cannot verify anything right now in this fog of war. Nothing can be verified.
Very true.
Ukrainian government, Ukrainian propaganda machine will try to show how brutal the Russian soldiers are, how they're harming civilians, how they're destroying civilian infrastructure. Whereas on the other side, the Russian propaganda machine will try to show you how humane they are, how they are helping civilians, how they're avoiding civilian targets. So it is a warfare from both sides. Nobody, let me assure you, nobody can right now, even the government sources cannot verify any video, any photo, and the veracity of it. Shiv.
Final question to you, Rajesh. Speaking about the fog of war, misinformation, claims and counterclaims, psychological operations on both sides, very big claims. One of the biggest claims that has come out over the last 12 hours have been of Russian heavy aircraft being shot down by the Ukrainian Air Force over Ukraine. You know, IL-76 heavy transport aircraft with hundreds of paratroopers on board. We haven't seen pictures of it. There are lots of claims and counterclaims going on. Can you comment or throw some light on that? Because it's one thing to say we've shot down a pair of helicopters. It's entirely another thing to say we've shot down two big transport aircraft of the Russian Federation with at least 200 paratroopers on board.
Shiv, listen, I have been in touch with a colonel from the Ukrainian army. He's a serving colonel, a friend of mine. I can't name him. And I have been requesting him to be sending me for information on WhatsApp regularly.
Yeah.
I've been also in touch with a local platoon commander here in Mariupol. As far as my information goes, I'm not aware of this. But let's see how true can it be. First, I can assure you that almost all the air defense capability of Ukraine has been already neutralized. Second, they do not need to bring in paratroopers at this stage because Russian forces are inside almost in every major city of Ukraine right now. So in that situation, you do not need paratroopers. I have been a paratrooper myself. You need paratroopers when the enemy is holding the lines and you want to go behind them and there is no other means. Not take a risk of flying transport helicopters or transport aircraft to bring the troops in. The troops are already on ground in every major city. Odessa, Kharkiv, Kyiv, they are already everywhere. Over to you, Shiv.
And what kind of role, I promise last question, Rajesh, what kind of role is the Russian...
I have 10% Shiv, go ahead, I have 10% left.
What kind of role does the Russian special forces playing? The special operators, paratroopers, what kind of role are they playing in this? Because, there was word out of Kiev yesterday that the regular forces have not come in yet, but the special forces have penetrated to take control of vital installations and communication hubs.
Shiv, as I said, this is a hybrid warfare. This is a perfect example of hybrid warfare right now going on. There, as I said, besides psychological operations, besides cyber operations, besides propaganda, misinformation operations, the military operations have been mainly conducted by the Air Force and the Special Forces. Plus, an element which nobody's talking about right now is the militia. The right-wing militia from Donbass is also playing a very vital role in this entire war. The militia has infiltrated local population in almost every city.
Yeah.
And you cannot identify them. They have a Ukrainian passport. They are like normal people. They don't wear uniforms. They don't carry guns openly. And they have infiltrated every section of the society here, every city they have infiltrated. And they are also playing a major role in the success of the special forces operations which are being carried out. And they have been very, very surgical in their strikes. They have been very, very precise in what they've done. You have seen on the 2 days back when they struck the airports, all the airports were struck with precision ammunition, no collateral damage at stage. Anti-aircraft capability of Ukraine almost completely wiped out. And then you saw Chernobyl, then you saw Odessa, then you see Kherson, everywhere. These have been mostly special forces operations. It is not those classical operations that thousands of troops and hundreds of tanks are advancing in a line. It is not that kind of war. Shiv.
Absolutely. Stay with me, Rajesh. Couple minutes more. Major Samar Tur, who's also an Indian Army veteran. I don't know if you know each other, probably unlikely, but Major Samar Tur, Rajesh Pawar is my friend and colleague on the ground. He's also a veteran of the Indian Army. So I know the both of you can't see each other, but the both of you are on air with us, and it's a privilege to have two soldiers and veterans on air here in India Today to analyze a situation that is rapidly developing. Rajesh, I cannot tell you how valuable it is to us here at India Today and to our viewers that we have a mind like yours that is analyzing a situation that is developing in front of your eyes, and yet you are able to sift the fact from fiction and are always such a wise mind in terms of telling our viewers, reminding our viewers that there is a lot of psychological operations and misinformation that's currently on. So I want to remind all our viewers that here on India Today, we don't take anything on face value. We will not simply show you a video and say, this is what is happening. We will only tell you that this is what is claimed to be happening. It needs to be taken with a pinch of salt. Major Samar, you heard what Rajesh said. He talks about the possibility of urban warfare breaking out in the days ahead, perhaps even sometime by next week. You've also been an urban warfare specialist. What do you think about that? Urban warfare breaking out in Ukraine.
Basically, Shiv, right now the pressure is going to be onto the engineering part, how they are going to make way into Kiev. Because some very important bridges have been blown up by the Ukrainian forces. So they have time to regroup, reorganize, and get themselves ready for a pitched battle. And as and when the noose keeps tightening, you will see the intensity of warfare between Russia and Ukraine will keep intensifying. Second factor we should keep in mind is the forces which have come in to attack Ukraine are well aware of the geographical features of these areas. So that is one of the most advantageous part, that these forces will not take much time to navigate their way through into Kiev. But now the key issue is that the important bridges now blown so the Russian forces mainly will be infiltrating either by heli-borne operations or there will be paradrops in and around Kiev. But as far as them getting mobilized and coming via ground into Kiev is going to be a very great challenge for the Russian forces as of now. As we are anticipating, it is going to take time for them to reach Zelensky. The president.
So
it is going to take time.
It's going to take time. The president put out a video just a short while ago from the middle of the city. It's a fluid situation. As Rajesh rightly said, it's a fluid situation. The Russian forces are in every major city right now. And the scaling up operations are probably what we're going to see as a key milestone in the next few hours and days. Thank you very much, Major Samar and Rajesh. Stay safe. Thank you for being with me from Mariupol. We'll be tracking your movement from there to Kiev as well in the next few hours. One dramatic, scary, unsettling image after the other coming in from Ukraine constantly. And we will bring those to you unstoppably here on India Today. This is what's happening in Ukraine. Quick break, 30 seconds. Back with much more.
To understand elections, you've got to get to the heart of the action.
What's moving voters on the ground? You need to be out where the action is.
Our election coverage ensures that every voice is heard.
most in-depth analysis and by far the most accurate exit polls.
India Today brings together decades of ground reportage with the A team of psephologists.
Most accurate, trustworthy